Hello friends, welcome back in the function part 2 video. In the last video, we learned about function, function definition, how to call a function, nested function. So in that row, in this video, we are going to learn about the parameters and the arguments of the function. So in this, after this video, you guys will get to know like what are the ways by which we can pass our arguments for the function and how function parameters works. So I will create one example here. So we know how to create a function that would be the with the keyword def and welcome. Here I would like to give the two parameter, let's say person in the title, and then here I will write print and f. I will write welcome. First will be the title, and then after the space person name in this section. Okay. This is a function definition. So as I mentioned in the previous video also that when we create a function definition and we pass some variables inside the parentheses, that is called the parameters. Then what is arguments? Argument is when we are going to call this function and pass some real value, that is the argument. So let's say here I would like to pass guest, the first argument, and the second will be the Mr. Okay, now if I'm going to execute, I got welcome Mr. Guest. So here very clear these two topics, that what is parameter and what is argument. So parameter is when we define a function and pass some variables in the parentheses, that is called the parameter, while when we call a function, then whatever we pass inside the parentheses, that is called the arguments. So in coming future, all the videos might be I'm going to talk that I'm going to use the words parameter and arguments. So I hope that you guys are understand that what is parameter and the what is arguments. Okay, so this is the difference between the parameter and arguments. So there are overall four types of arguments, basically how we can pass the arguments. Okay, so we learn here those. So let's say I'm going to say that function arguments. Now the next topic. Okay, here the first type is the required arguments. So required arguments is nothing but that where the order of the argument should be the same, and that needs to be available in the function call. So let's say this is the example of the required arguments. Okay, so whatever we call here, that is the required argument. So this is our first type. Second type is known as keyword arguments. Okay, what is keyword arguments? In the keyword arguments, let me give the example so that it will be understandable to you guys. So let's say I want to call this welcome. So what I'll do, I will use the whatever we use the variable name for the parameters. Let's say I have used the title first, and I want to give here Mr. and then comma, and the person is equal to the guest. Correct? And let me execute it. I got the output welcome Mr. Guest. So if we are going to call a function by this way, this is called this way actually called the keyword arguments, where I have to give the variable name whatever we pass when we define the function, and the value, okay, like that title and Mr. and person and the guest. But here no need to check the sequence. So let me write here that sequence should exact match. Okay, here sequence could be anything. Why anything? Because we are giving the variable name and the value, then variable name and the value. That's why there is no need of exact sequence, and this is pretty much clear and valid as well. Okay, so this is the second type of the keyword arguments. Third is, which is important, that is the default arguments. In this default arguments, basically what we can do when we create a function, when we give the definition of the function. So let's say I'm going to create one function that is say welcome again. This is my new method. Here again the same thing, person and the title and this colon, and the same thing I will copy paste here, but I will mention here that welcome again. Now what we need to do extra for the default arguments. So when we define any function, then only we can pass some values. Let's say Mrs. Jacob. Okay. So basically this function has the parameter person and title, and those parameters has the default value Mrs. and Jacob. So how we can use it? Let's say I want to call this particular function. That what I'll do, I'll just copy paste it and I will pass here name is guest again, let's say, and this will be the Mr. and see I got the output welcome again Mr. Guest in this section. But what if I really don't want to pass anything as a argument? What will happen? See, I got that welcome again Jacob Mrs., which is actually this should be here. Actually I passed the wrong names, my bad here. So I will change it quickly so that it would be readable. Okay, now here we can say welcome again Mrs. Jacob in this section. So this is the use of the default arguments. In this case we really don't need to pass anything. If you are not going to pass, then by default values is going to be taken. Otherwise, if you really want to pass anything, you can pass it. And it's not mandatory that both the two arguments should be there or should not be there. So let's say I want to write Mr. here and then run. Okay, let's check up, make it Jacob, and then now you can see that welcome again Mrs. Jacob in this section. So it automatically take accordingly. Okay, no need to specify anything. So this was the third. Next is the fourth one, that is the variable length arguments. Why this is called variable length arguments? Because till now whatever we learn, we really know that what will be our arguments, how many arguments we want, one or two or more than that. But in this case, when we really don't know, like in the runtime, how many arguments may come for any function, then in that scenario we use this variable length arguments. So let me write the function. Let's say function will be the new function, some argument which I need to pass. So let's say argument 1 and then argument 2. As I mentioned that we really don't know like how many arguments will come. So in the last I will write args, and if I want to print it, what I'll do, arg1 and then copy paste, then copy paste. Actually this should be in this. Okay, this will be the arg2, this will be the args, and now I want to call this function. See the magic. So let's say here two variable we have given, which is mandatory variables, and then anything can be there actually. That's why we are using this star one. Star args is a variable that can be anything. Okay, so in that row I will like to pass 10, then 20, then let's say 30, then let's say 40, and let me execute it. So what I got, 10, 20, and then 30 and 40. So 30 and 40 is available inside this args. So by this way we can handle n number of arguments as well. So let's say in the next example I want to remove this arg2, then see what will be the output. The output should be 10 and then 20, 30, 40 in a tuple. See. So guys, this was the four arguments type for a function, and I hope you guys now got the what is the parameters and what is the argument and what are the ways by which we can pass the argument in the function. I hope this will be useful. So thank you guys. Thanks for watching this, and if you really like this video, then please like and subscribe my channel. Thank you.